Well, good afternoon. Welcome to a very late in the day, 7:47. It's Monday, and I just returned with my beautiful redhead and Pastor Steve and Lori from Florida from our Foursquare International Convention. Got home late last night, like 1 or 2 in the morning, so kind of a late day today, a late start today. But while we were gone, we had this harvest. In my wife's garden, she started picking all the fruits and vegetables of her garden, just a couple of them you can see here. And it reminded me of how much we appreciate the hard labors of those who have farms and those who produce the food that we eat. And it reminded me of First Chronicles 25 and 26 that every job to God, every one of the jobs that we do, He values it. God values our work. He puts great value in the things that we do. And David, as we know, in First Chronicles 25 and 26, was setting up these jobs to oversee the temple. And for the time being, it was a temporary temple. They were going to end up building a permanent one, which was going to be built through his son Solomon. David would not be able to see the temple being built. He would put together the finances. He'd put together the people. He'd put together the processes and the priests and the families. But David was not the one to build the temple. It was going to be Solomon. Nonetheless, he talks about a couple positions here and the importance of these jobs. For instance, in chapter 25 of First Chronicles, he puts together these musicians, but this is what he says. Listen to what he says. David and the chiefs of the service also set apart for the service the sons of Asaph and of Heman and of Jeduthun, who prophesied with lyres, with harps, and with cymbals. And so there were literally individuals that God had called families of musicians, and their job was to prophesy the word of the Lord through the playing of their instruments. Now, today, sometimes we have in our churches what we call a spontaneous worship time. And spontaneous worship time or extemporaneous worship is when the song is over or the song is prolonged because we sense the Holy Spirit doing a work in people. And when the Holy Spirit's doing that work in people, we consider it this prolonged worship experience. Well, David literally called upon people who had this gift that when they played their instrument, it was so beautiful, it brought people to a place where they could actually prophesy in the name of the Lord. They also called the Kings Seers, which were people who, these were not witches, these were individuals who worshipped God and who brought prophetic words to God, to the king on behalf of the Lord. And they were very skilled. It says in verse 7, the number of them along with their brothers who were trained in singing to the Lord, all who were skillful was 288. And they cast lots for their duties, small and great, teacher and pupil alike. So again, what they would do is they'd find these talented musicians who could play instruments, who could sing, these seers who could hear from God, and then they would put their names, basically, for a lack of a better analogy, put their names in a hat, draw them out by lot, and believe God would handpick those who would serve for a season, and everybody served for a season. It didn't just go there, though. Now we went to the gatekeepers. And the gatekeepers, to many, were considered a lowly position. They were the ones who provided security for those who would come into the court of the temple. Now, the difference here is that God did not see these, and David did not see these as just a physical bouncer, as it were, to keep people safe, although it is what they did. They kept the unclean out of the courtyard so people could be free to worship God. But these spiritual bouncers also brought a spiritual protection to the courtyard. Their presence protected evil forces from entering the courtyard of the temple. And so the same thing went up. They chose families to oversee them, and they had different individuals at every gate the gatekeepers around the outside. And as they did that, they prayed protection, and both spiritual and provided physical protection against those who might come and defile the temple. They even called a whole family of people for the treasury, for all the treasures that belonged to the Lord. There were gifts to the Lord from Saul, from David. There were families who handled the finances, who were above reproach, and they maintained all those gifts. It says, for instance, verse 26, this Shelomoth and his brothers were in charge of all the treasuries and of the dedicated gifts that David the king and the heads of his father's houses and the officers of the thousands and the hundreds and the commanders of the army had dedicated. From spoils won in battle, they dedicated gifts for the maintenance of the house of the Lord. Also all that Samuel the seer and Saul the son of Kish and Abner the son of Ner and Joab the son of Zeruiah had dedicated, all dedicated gifts were in the care of Shelomoth and his brothers. So just like, someone harvests the farm, harvests the fruits and vegetables, someone distributes those. Well, these individuals took care of the finances and the gifts and the treasures that were all set aside as an act of worship to God. They set aside treasures as an act of worship to God. And they continue to list these job descriptions to remind us of something. If you are serving in any capacity or working in any capacity, your job to God matters. If you're the one who plants the seeds or tills the ground, it's necessary for the seed to be able to be planted. If you water the plant, it's necessary for the plant to grow. If you harvest the fruit and vegetables, it's necessary or they'll rot. If you distribute the food to those in need, it's important or people may starve to death. You prepare it in a meal and you cook it. Necessary. People need the food to be prepared. All of these jobs matter to God. God values your work. The problem is sometimes we don't value our work. We compare ourselves to others. We see other jobs that people do as more glamorous than ours, not realizing that perhaps glamorous job comes with many pitfalls, many heartaches, many burdens, many anxieties. So what should we do? Stop comparing what you do to others. Work as unto the Lord. If you play an instrument, play it to the Lord. If you seek God in prayer, believe God will speak to you for the benefit of others. If you are a finance person, handle your money wisely before the Lord. If God gives you treasures to protect and security of things or people or places, protect that. Be a good security person. Everything you do has value to the Lord. Your work of your hands has value to the Lord. So David is making it clear, there is no spiritual and secular division here. There is no, this is only a physical job and this is a spiritual job. Everything you do has both the physical and the spiritual elements to it. Therefore, do it before the Lord. Enjoy the fruits of the labor of your work. God honors it and He values it. Well, it's been a couple days for sure. It's been a whole week since I've been here with you, so make sure you hit the like button right down there. Hit that like button. Keep sharing this with friends, and we'll see you tomorrow morning, hopefully sometime around 7:47, and we'll see you then. Thanks for checking in. Love you all. Bye-bye.